The battle which holds all the fate of all the worlds is currently being fought at Yuha's Warwelt. Sternritter C, Pernida Park-Joss, was defeated by Mayuri Kurotsuchi. He and Kenpachi Zaraki both received heavy injuries while the course of the battle, as well as the death of Nemu Kurotsuchi. Sternritter D, Askin Naklevar, fought against Ichigo's group, taking out Grimjow Jaggerjack with his ability, the Death Dealer. And now we move to Sternritter X's battle with the Captain Commander of the Gotei 13, Shunsui Kyoraku. But that's not important. But what is important is what's going on with this series' real main character, Sosuke Aizen. Those fuckers left me down here, didn't they? You know what, guys? I might have been a dick and tried to kill God and take over your entire society, but you know what? At least I was upfront about it. I don't pretend to be like, oh, hey, Aizen, we need your help, and then just leave me here strapped to a fucking chair. So, you know, who's the real bad guy here? Yeah, who am I kidding? It's still me. Welcome, everybody, to Bleach chapter number... Okay, time to let you in on a little secret, I guess. Vampires don't actually have the fangs. I know that kind of goes against, you know, every piece of vampire fiction you've probably ever seen, well, ever, but... Yeah, basically what happened is Bram Stoker wrote the book back in the 19th century, and a lot of us vampires thought that was a pretty cool look. Like, damn straight, we should have fangs, right? So, you know, a lot of us made our own. You know, some are really dedicated to their craft, will actually file down their own teeth to make the fangs, but vampires are not actually born with fangs. I mean, let's think about this for a second, guys. You get bit by a vampire and your teeth magically grow into the shape of fangs. It makes absolutely no sense, so... They're just, for aesthetics, really. But anyway, this will be Bleach chapter number 646, titled, The Second Eye. And I will admit, for a little bit there, I was actually thinking Kubo was going to be a little clever with this, in that when you say the second eye, hey, obviously you're going to think of Sternritter X's Lille Barrow's eye, the one that he always keeps shut that has the big X over it, but I thought, well, you know, Shunsui, he's missing an eye too. I mean, if you wanted to be really clever with this, Kubo, you could have spun that in a way, and possibly, I'm not saying likely, but possibly, Kubo could have spun it in a way that made it look like, oh, that's the reason he doesn't wear the eye patch all the times, or that's the reason that, you know, it looks like he hasn't been shot before. You know, I'm just hoping for too much, aren't I? Yeah, I am. Anyway, starts off with Shinji Hirako after Nanao arrives back at their group, stating that Shunsui is going to be taking on Sternritter X by himself, and, you know, she's just relaying the information to them. We still get no update on what the deal is with the other lieutenants, if they've been carted off to try to be healed, or what the hell's up with Byakuya and Soifone. And by the way, I completely forgot about Soifone. I'm not even fucking you. I seriously thought, I just completely forgot she was there. You know, like, I sees my least favorite captain, so I'm just like, Soifone was there? I don't remember. I don't think we're gonna get a serious fight with her the rest of the series. We might. I don't know. But yeah, Byakuya and her are gone, and since they're captain level, I'm gonna assume they at least broke off with their group and went off their separate ways, so they definitely cannot be down already. But yeah, Shinji basically says, okay, Shunsui says he's got it, well then the bros got it, so he's about to head off to where they were heading earlier, I guess Yuha's castle, the Warwelt. Momo objects to this. She says, you know, we should probably go help out Captain Shunsui, to which Shinji replies with the great time and tested, we've done this before. He pulls the Ukitake card, I think I'm going to call it. If Ukitake were here, what do you think he would say? If that's what Yoraku said, then I'm sure he'll be fine. Let's leave it in his hands. Yeah, I'm starting to get the indication they're playing off Ukitake to be like Jesus now? Like, what would Ukitake do in this situation? Because I only say this because this is the second time they've done that shit, where they say, you know, oh, well, I'm having kind of a question about this. Oh, no. What would Ukitake do in this situation? So Ukitake, he's either dead or he's been reincarnated as their messiah. One of the ways they're treating him as like the moral absolute here. And I just want to back up and question, was Ukitake's whole purpose doing the Mimi Hage thing just to introduce the concept that the Soul King has two different arms? Because let's rewind, that Mimi Hage, that did dick. It seriously did. It stabilized the Soul King for like one chapter, and then Yuha just ripped the thing off, you know, swallowed it and gained its power. And that's all it did. So was Ukitake's whole purpose why he was delayed for so long just to introduce, oh, by the way, the Soul King has arms, and which by extension then we understood when Pernita showed up. I mean, we could have had Pernita just show up. Oh, it's a left arm. Okay, it's Bleach. You know, we could be cool with that. But yeah, I don't think Ukitake's going to be showing up at any point in the series from this point onward. He might be gone. I know they said he was unconscious earlier, but I don't know the way they're phrasing this kind of shit. He might be in like a vegetative state for the rest of it. I don't know. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to bring up, since this chapter opens up immediately with Shinji's kind of goofy face, if you flip his smile around, it looks like he's high as balls. Whoa, dude, Shunsui's fighting a Sternlichter? Okay, that'll work. He can do that. It's a free country, you know. Captain, I think we should really go help him. Nah, Momo, it's cool. We got this. We're the Shinigami, motherfucker. Okay, well, how do you plan on taking out the Quincy's then, Captain? How do I plan on taking out the Quincy? Let me think for a second. Okay, I got something. The Quincy's are like basically Nazis, right? Well, I mean, their basis is German, but I guess you could say, yeah, there's a clear Nazi resemblance. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do, and bear with me on this. We're going to build a giant mecha Winston Churchill and a robotic Franklin Delano Roosevelt to combat a giant Hitler robot. What the fuck? The last thing that's stated here is that now is going to be heading back to the location where Shunsui is, and as another caveat to that, Shinji just basically says, oh, and by the way, Head Captain Yamamoto, which is where I remind you, Shunsui and Ukitake both got all their training directly from, would also do the exact same thing in this situation. And then now basically just confirms it, because he's like, to take the responsibility in the lives of his soldiers, that is what it means to be the Captain Commander. That's right, Shunsui. That's right there. It's your duty to take responsibility and defend your men. That's why you're taking on Sternritter X right now. Completely just ignore the fact that he sniped and killed like 3 vice captains immediately prior to this, but right now you're making your stand. We get the chapter title, then we cut back over to Lille facing down against Shunsui with his broken rifle. By the way, I just want to say this right now. I had to do so many damn reshoots last episode because I kept fucking up saying Lille's name. So I'm just going to keep saying Lille, alright? If you don't like it, you can complain below, but it's just easier on me because it's like for some people can't pronounce the word cinnamon correctly. I just cannot pronounce his name the way it's supposed to be said. So I'm sticking with Lille. Anyway, Lille and Shunsui have a little bit of an exchange, to which it's revealed that Shunsui managed to cut Lille's rifle down to size even more. Lille retreats and activates an ability called Diagram, which restores his rifle to its former glory. In fact, it looks like it upgraded it a bit. He states that his rifle is in fact his bow, and it's made of reishi. So yeah, we kind of already assumed this, that his rifle was in fact his reishi bow, that he could just restore it whenever he wanted. This explains how he was able to bring it back after Nimaya cut it down last time in their fight. Kind of different from other of the Sternritter abilities. We don't really know all of them, but they're all physical structures, so I guess they all have this ability. I want to question BG9 when he had his freaking minigun cut to ribbons by Soifone, why he didn't just restore it. But he was a robot, so maybe it's different. Actually, it's an ability that's very similar to Ryukin, because, you know, we had like Uryu using all the reishi bows, but then we had Ryukin show up with like the metallic one that he can, like a physical structure. So I don't know if it just goes about like the more you advance and as a Quincy, you can create solid structures using your reishi. Even Uryu had that short bow thing he had back in the Fullbringer arc. Is that something that he made out of reishi? Because I don't think he could just keep that thing in his pants. You know, I'm just saying. Anyway, while Lille was in the middle of explaining his ability to Shunsui, this actually backfires on him for one time in this series, because he took his eyes off Shunsui, which that's the whole point of this shadow game, the Katakiri game, where if you take your eyes off of Shunsui, then he could basically slip into the shadows, and the figure you might be talking to, if you take your eyes off it for even a second, may not be the real Shunsui anymore. So with that being the case, Shunsui basically surrounds Lille by using right. Shunsui, why did you... Your ability is shadows and you made clones of yourself. Kubo, what the... Were you asking everyone to make this joke? Okay, fine. Everyone else has done it. I guess I'll just fall on the bandwagon. Alright, you guys ready? Alright, here we go. Say it with me now. Kuchiyose no Jutsu! Got you, you motherfuckers! It wasn't really that funny. So, Shunsui creates a bunch of achromatic copies of himself in order to attack Lille from all directions. Back when you were a little kid, the sight of your own shadow would sometimes scare the crap out of you. Yeah, I was a little bit more afraid of wasps, actually. And, of course we know, he's the Sternritter X. This fight is not going to be over in, what is that, 3 chapters? Not even 3 chapters, like 2.5. So, of course we know that Shunsui is going to be somehow fucked over by Lille's ability. Oh. Well, shit, I guess he is the Captain Commander for a reason. Alright, that's awesome, Shunsui! Kick ass! But of course, this just makes everything go a whole lot worse because now we have Lille opening his second eye. Alright guys, so Lille's about to open his eye. Now, he's a manga character that always has his eye closed and has a special cool tribal mark over it. So you know his eye's gonna be really deformed or have like a special symbol on it or be like tattooed on the scalea or, you know, like his pupil's gonna be like 3 different colors or it's gonna be exactly like his other eye. Come on, Kubo! That was easy. That one was a given. You could have given something to him. I mean, I'll do it for you there. I mean, it's not something really spectacular, but at least makes his left eye look a little bit different from his right eye, but okay, whatever. We have to get on to explaining what this ability actually does, alright? And we'll probably end up making another Naruto reference in a second here. Alright, so basically how this power works, from the best of my ability, is that whenever Lille is put in a state of vulnerability in battle for 3 times, he can open up his eye on that 3rd time. So, the first time he was left vulnerable was when Shunsui appeared behind him all of a sudden using his Daruma-san fell over game. The second time he was left vulnerable was last chapter when he used the Katakiri shadow ability. You know, he thought he killed him, he turned around and it was a shadow instead. And this is the 3rd time when he used his Kage Bushins and basically just ran him through with Katen Kyokatsu. Because that was the 3rd time, he can now open his eye. And this releases the full power of the X-axis, or the one that the perfilator of all creation. So as we know so far with the X-axis, it's whatever is from the line of his reishi bow or rifle, I guess, whatever you can call it, to, you know, the line of his opponent. So from point A to point B, everything in between there is just obliterated out of existence. Opening his left eye transfers this power over to his body as well. So any foreign object piercing his body is immediately slipped through as well. And then we see Katen Kyokatsu basically just slide, like Lille just becomes butter and it just slides right out of him. And the wound, I guess, begins to clear up after that as well. So the reason also it's called the 3rd time is there's like a teaching in Buddhism that even Buddha, you know, could not stay his hand for the 3rd time someone commits a wrongful act against him. And also, I'm not Buddhist. I mean, I'm a vampire. I don't really think they take me. So, yeah, I'm not really sure on this whole deal. Maybe someone could explain that a little bit better just in this more beyond this just translator note or this footnote here. But anyway, yeah, so basically now that if you haven't connected the dots so far, Lille is a manga character that basically has one of those get out of jail free cards abilities. And this is going back to the Naruto reference. Sasuke's fight against Danzo, remember that? Where Sasuke could legitimately kill Danzo like 8 times in a row, but because he had Izanagi, he could basically just, oh, that never happened. You didn't really cut off my head. I just wrote that off as a dream. That never happened. You know, time loop back to where we were before. It was all an illusion made reality by my ultimate eye power. That's basically what Lille's power is. Oh, you legitimately killed me. Oh, I could just negate it so it never happened. Just ignore that, buddy. It was a get out of jail free card. That didn't happen. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not against these kind of powers if they're used in moderation. Like, I think Lille is really the only person so far in this series to demonstrate something like that. But basically, yeah, Lille begins to state that he is His Majesty's greatest creation and that he is the last Quincy that was given power by Yuha. I want to bring this up, though, really quick, because wasn't Uryu the last person to be given power from, you know, using, like, the blood ceremony and, like, the script? Wasn't Uryu the last one, in which case they picked up Lille like in the intervening time between Uryu was made a Stern Ritter and now, but I don't think that's the case because it seems that Lille's been in his service to Yuha for a very long time, so I don't know why he said he was the final Quincy to be granted power from His Majesty when it was clearly Uryu. But he also states that I'm more than just a man. I'm on the outskirts of being a god. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Don't do this, Kubo. Please. Don't do it. Don't do the character. I am a god, therefore I can never die. You are gonna get so hard, Lille. I am a god. I hate that crap. I mean, hey, at least Yuha has the skills to pay the bills, okay? Yuha, yeah, he's got the almighty power, he's got Mimi Hage, he's absorbed the Soul King, which in and itself is basically God, so Yuha wants to call himself God, fine, I can buy that. He kind of has the power to back it up. Lille has the power to shoot things, okay? Yeah, if I want that, I'll move to freaking, like, I don't know, Tennessee, and I'd be like, okay, sir, you are a god because you managed to shoot that deer from 1,000 yards away. Okay, good job, freaking Yahweh. All right, yeah, okay, whatever. Let's just move on to the big epic final scene of the chapter. Lille opens up his eye, I guess, even more, which extends the markings around it outwards, activates his Quincy Zeiken, the five-pointed star around him, which is shaped slightly differently. It's got the different, like, protrusions at the end. I forget what they're called. I looked it up earlier. I just forget the name. And basically, though, what he's doing is he's activating his Quincy Vollstandig. And that we see a very brief panel where it seems like his face is different, like he has these tattoos going over his eyes, but the real show is his full form, which we pan out and see it's Zyrael, which means God's judgment. Probably pronouncing that wrong. In other translations, it was Jael or Zyrael. I don't know how you're going to go with this, but basically we have Lille, who seems to be completely encased in like this armor or like really long robe. We have 8 wings protruding from him with 3 circles in each wing, and yeah, I think everyone sort of thought of the same thing when they saw this, and, yeah, these two, might look kind of, similar, huh? Right, well, at first I was just gonna write this off as just, oh no, that's just similar appearance, but, you know, he does call himself I'm a god, and it's so similar to Aizen. I mean, hell, even in Aizen's 4th form, when he went all skull-faced, he had 3 openings in the middle of his chest, which is very similar to all the openings he has here, so I would say that Kubo's probably gonna tie this back at some point to maybe, like, the gods have this, like this certain shape. I mean, at the end of the day, all this would really mean is maybe Yuha implanted it in him of this form, so you could just tie that back to Yuha, not necessarily Lille, but whichever, however. Basically, in this power, Shunsui attempts to move, or I guess try to counterattack, do something, but he notices that after he's gone into his Vollstandig, he's rendered Shunsui immobile somehow. Now, we don't know how this immobility works. We don't know if Shunsui's literally locked in place, or he just can't move his feet, or, you know, how this immobility has worked. If maybe Lille is restraining him somehow, like Muramasa, invisible hands. I don't know, man. But basically, the point is, Shunsui can't move, and then we cut back over to see Lille activate his ability, where we see 3 of the wings, the holes in them light up, and then subsequently we see the 3 lights hit Shunsui dead on, and that's where the chapter ends. So Shunsui gets like direct hit 3 times. Actually, no, not really direct hit, because the one on the top looks like it just hit his Casa hat. Doesn't really seem like it missed his head. Actually, I think it totally missed his head. The second one might have went like right here. So I think the only one we really have to worry about is the one that maybe took out part of his kidney. I don't know. It doesn't look like none of them really hit him like dead on in the head or chest area, so this might have been just a warning shot on Lille's part. But that's the end there. Okay, so really quick, just talking about Zyrael's ability from what I can see. Basically, the way I look at this is just this is like an extension of his normal power, which is normal power, the x-axis, you know, he could do the all-penetrating shot, but it was only from one gun, or, you know, one point to another point. With this Zyrael, it looks like that each of these wings circles can shoot its own independent shot. So I counted, so with 8 wings, 3 each, that would be 24 different attacks. However, he also has circles on his body as well, so I counted that for a total of 33. There might be more on his back, I don't know, but so just going by the circles, that's 33 basic little gun barrels that he can aim at opponents or the same opponent and attack at the same time. So I really think that's what the circles are for, but getting a resemblance to Aizen is so obvious here that I have to bring that up. As for what the other group is doing, as far as like as far as like Shinji and the others, I think they're just going to be progressing to the War World. Nanao's probably going to return to Shunsui's side, and I think coming up in like the next chapters or so, we might get the starting gun for Shunsui's Bankai. What I mean by the starting gun is Kubo's going to milk this shit like forever. Like, remember when Aizen showed up? Okay, at the end of chapter 616, we had Shunsui at the end state Aizen was in the prison. It wasn't until the next chapter, the end of the next chapter, where we saw Aizen's face. And it wasn't until the next chapter after that we actually got to see Aizen speak. So Kubo loves to milk this shit. So I can guarantee you, if at the end of the next chapter, Shunsui says something like, I guess it's time to use our Bankai Katen Kyokatsu, he will not activate his Bankai until the end of the following chapter, and it won't be until the chapter, like 3 weeks from now, that we actually get to see it. Alright, okay, it's gonna probably milk this. And of course, that'll also drag out the fight, which is also good for Kubo's part. Alright, well, aside from that, we got to see Lily's Vollstandig, pretty cool chapter. I really wish his eye would have been a little bit more coolly designed, because that was like under Pernita's hood. That was like something that we wanted to see, like, oh, why is this thing under a hood? You know, why is this guy's eye have a big X over it? You know, what's he hiding under there? You know, and it's just a normal eye that just gives him a get-out-of-jail-free card. It's Izanagi. Gives him Izanagi ability. That's all it does. But anyway, yeah, I don't actually know if he still has that now, because he's in Vollstandig. If that power carries over now, I would assume it would, as long as he has both eyes open. But anyway, that's all for me today, guys. Vampire Tekking signing out. They still look cool.